Hi guys, I'm going to read to you While the Horses Galloped to London by Mabel Watts. That's a lovely picture of a stagecoach there. It happened in England many long years ago when Sherman was nothing but a boy. At 9 o'clock in the morning a stagecoach with 4 galloping horses drew up before the village inn with a rattle, a rumble and a clatter of hoofs. There's Sherman going towards the stagecoach with his mum. "All aboard for London," shouted the driver as his horses rested. 2 shillings to London. One by one the passengers paid their fares and climbed aboard. There was a woman carrying a bag of knitting, a little girl cuddling a china-faced doll. You can see them. There's the little girl. I'm not sure where the lady is with a bag of knitting. They're all a bit jumbled up, aren't they? A fishwife carrying a basket of cockles and mussels, a sailor home from the sea with a parrot in a cage, a singer with a yellow moustache and a fiddle. There was a magician who wore a tall black hat with a rabbit inside, and Sherman was last. Now you can see there the rabbit poking out from underneath the tall black hat up there. He carried a stew pot that was to be a present for his grandmother in London. "Watch out for robbers, outlaws and highwaymen," said his mother, "and guard that pot with your life." "Not for a king's ransom will I give it up to anyone," said Sherman, "so don't you worry." "A pot that big belongs on top with the trunks and boxes," said the driver from his high-up seat. "Not for 1 minute will I take my eyes off this pot," said Sherman, "for I must guard it with my life." "Then let it stay," said the driver. He cracked his whip over the horses' heads, and off they went at a breakneck speed. For want of a better place to put the pot, Sherman held it tightly on his lap while the horses galloped to London. But it was too much pot for one lap. "With your pot taking up most of my lap," said the lady with the knitting, "I have no room to knit." "With your pot sitting on my lap," said the singer with a yellow moustache, "I have no room to play my fiddle." To keep them from complaining, and for want of a better place to put the pot, Sherman set it on a rack overhead while the horses galloped to London. All went merrily enough till the wheels bumped over a rut in the road. This jerked the pot off the rack and sent it tumbling down on the tall black hat below. "Smashed to smithereens," said the magician sadly, "and if my rabbit hadn't been safe in my pocket, things might have been worse." His hat is completely squished, but the rabbit is here, quite safe. To keep the magician from complaining, and for want of a better place to keep the pot, Sherman set it on the floor by his feet while the horses galloped to London. "With your pot on the floor, there's no room for my feet," said the sailor home from the sea, "and there's no room for my parrot in his cage." "There's no room for my basket full of cockles and mussels," said the fishwife. To keep the sailor and the fishwife from complaining, and for want of a better place to keep the pot, Sherman gave up his seat to the pot. He stood at the window while the horses galloped to London. "Now my pot won't bother anyone," said Sherman, "because it's sitting in the seat that is rightfully mine, the seat for which my mother paid a 2-shilling fare." But who's this spying on the stagecoach? There they all are, squished into the stagecoach. But putting the pot on his seat did not mend matters. "With you standing in the window, my china-faced doll can't see the scenery," said the little girl. "She can't see the flowers in the dingles or the dragons in the dells." There's the dragon. "And all because your silly pot has to have a seat." "That pot is a nuisance," said the passengers. "That boy is a pest." "Quiet down there," shouted the driver. "You're upsetting the horses." To keep everyone from complaining, Sherman wondered if he shouldn't get off the coach and walk the rest of the way to London. But just as he was making up his mind, an outlaw saved him the trouble. It was rough Roger himself on his fiery white stallion, and he was fiery as a hornet. "Your money or your life," he said, bold as brass, as the 4 galloping horses came to a stop. "And remember, I am the wickedest, the wildest highwayman in all of England." At the sight of his gun, the passengers got off the coach and dropped their money into rough Roger's hat. Sovereigns, guineas, silver crowns, every last farthing from every last pocket. "Hand over your valuables as well," said rough Roger, "and remember, you'll be sorry if you try to trick me." The knitting lady gave up her knitting. The fishwife gave up her basket of cockles and mussels. The sailor gave up his parrot, cage and all. The singer with the yellow moustache gave up his fiddle. With a tear in her eye, the little girl gave up her china-faced doll. The magician gave up his rabbit and all that was left of his tall black hat. You see the rough Roger sitting there, taking all their stuff. But Sherman would not give up his pot. "It's a present for my grandmother in London," he said, "and I will guard it with my life." He planted himself fair and square before rough Roger. "Not for a king's ransom will I give up this pot," he said. "Anyway, it has a hole." "A hole, you say?" said rough Roger, and he peered into the pot, thinking what a fine stew he would make of the rabbit. "I don't see a hole." "Look a little closer," said Sherman bravely, though he was nothing but a boy and his heart was beating like a bird in a hand. Rough Roger looked closer. "If there's a hole in this pot," he said, "I must be needing spectacles." But just as he said spectacles, Sherman pushed the outlaw's head all the way into the pot, and it was a very tight fit. It fitted him so tightly he couldn't pull it off. "If there hadn't been a hole in this pot," Sherman told rough Roger, "you couldn't have got your head inside." "That's a good joke for a boy your size," said the magician, as he took back his rabbit and all that was left of his tall black hat. "Your pot was just the right size for catching an outlaw," said the sailor home from the sea, as he comforted the parrot in his cage. "At a time like this, there was no better place to put the pot," said the little girl as she cuddled her china-faced doll. No other boy would have had the courage to outwit rough Roger, everyone said, the wildest, the wickedest outlaw in all of England. They laughed all the way to the jail in the next town, where it took 3 blacksmiths and a team of horses to pull the pot off Roger's head. After that, Sherman had no more trouble at all with his pot. Everyone was proud to hold it. "Your pot is not a nuisance," they said, "and you are anything but a pest. Wait till my grandmother hears about this," said Sherman. While the horses galloped to London.